Hi everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Hallmark Plus More, where we watch and talk about shows, movies, mysteries, Hallmark ornaments, and anything else that floats our boat. So today I'm going to be reviewing High Potential Season 1, Episode 12. So before I get into the review, I just want to say thank you to everybody who likes, subscribes, watches my videos, leaves comments. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, and I read every comment. So getting into this episode, it starts off on like a private jet, right? So you got some rich guy, he's got his dog there, and as soon as he gets off the plane, he falls, kind of foams at the mouth, and you're like, okay, was it poison? Because now he's dead. They get to the crime scene, the airport, and then you see the FBI come. And I'm assuming FBI is going to want to take over the crime scene. And I was right. They come in and they're like, so there's a little bit of butting heads on who's going to take the case. But you find Special Agent Ronnie Oliver is first on the scene. And you can kind of see that he's kind of butting heads with Adam. Not necessarily like, oh, you're LAPD and I'm the FBI, I take precedent, but you could tell there was something personal, right? And it turns out they used to be partners. So Ronnie used to work for the LAPD. Something happened, and now he's with the FBI, and apparently they left some bad blood there. So, of course, Morgan picks up on it right away. Of course. And she's like, well, I'm your new partner. Do you want me to tell me what happened with your old partner? And Adam's like, you're not my partner. So, you definitely, as you're watching the episode, like, okay, what happened between them? And even Lieutenant Soto, she was like, yeah, that was a bad time for everybody. So then, Morgan's like, all right, well, the lieutenant doesn't want to talk about it, but something happened. I kind of want to get it out of Adam. So at first, Adam's like annoyed, like he doesn't really want to talk about it. But you do find out later in the episode what happened. So basically, Morgan's Morgan. Adam was very weary of Morgan and kind of judged her prematurely, right? And so Ronnie is doing the same thing. So he's like, what? This is some consultant and she's going to help on the case. Look, we're FBI. We have more resources. Like, just kind of pulling rank and saying he's better because he's the FBI, right? Which obviously rubs everybody in the police department the wrong way. Like, hey, look whose house you're in. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be saying that around LAPD in the police office, in the police station, but he does. And he Adam kind of goes to Lieutenant Soto and says, hey, he looks at Morgan the way I looked at Morgan when I first met her. I know how valuable she is. He doesn't. So basically, they say, they go to the FBI and they have these real, like, high profilers, the top profilers, and they've been doing it for so long, and yada yada yada. So she's telling him, like, this is a profile of the killer, this is who we're looking for. And of course Morgan, like, intervenes, and of course her profile of the killer is completely different of what the lady did. And she's like, are you saying that I'm wrong? And Morgan goes, isn't that what I just said? So, like, I love Morgan being Morgan because she's so sassy. And with her appearance, nobody takes her seriously, but once they talk to her and see that she's very valuable, so I'm like, okay, they're gonna figure this out. However, they find out that he had a flash drive in his pocket. So he's, I told you earlier, he's some rich guy. He was coming off his plane. Apparently, he's a big player in the tech world, and he created an app that takes images and within minutes makes them a deep fake. So, that's scary, right? You're mad at your mom, you're mad at your boyfriend, and you just can change an image in 2 seconds. So Morgan made it, an example of, so you could be playing with your kids at a playground and in 2 seconds it can look like you've been spanking your kid. So, that was just an example that she gave of what this app does. But that's scary. So when I heard that, I was like, wow, I'm sure there's people like me that are like, whoa, this is not good technology, right? So right away I was thinking, okay, that's gotta form some enemies. But you don't really know who, right? I mean, I'm just saying hypothetical, a lot of people that had this technology used on them would be upset enough to track him down and kill him. Probably not, but still, I'm thinking, okay, this guy obviously has got enemies. He actually had a security team. So when he comes off the plane, you see like three guys there. And you find out, 2 hours before he got on the plane or the flight, he was dropped off at this office building and told the security staff and team to stay in the car. So they're like, okay, well, what's the secret meeting he had right before he got on the flight? Like, who poisoned this guy? The foaming at the mouth is telling me that he was poisoned. And so, they're kind of going back and forth. Like I said, they go to the FBI, and basically Adam makes a deal with Ronnie. Is like, look, give us everything that you have with the FBI. Let Morgan and I look through it, and if we can't figure it out, then you can take the case, right? And Ronnie's like looking at Morgan going, sure, fine, whatever, right? And they see this flash drive, and Morgan's like, hey, he's a tech guy. I looked it up. This isn't his type of flash drive. So they put it in the computer, and it's a virus that shuts down the entire police department. All their computers like pop up, this is a virus, and they're like, what the heck just happened? So, the FBI was like, this is the profile of the person. And it turns out she had the profile correct of the person that put the flash drive in his pocket. But we find out that wasn't the killer. So, the FBI is looking pretty, going, well, this was my profile. Your little consultant Morgan said I was wrong, but we found the guy who put the flash drive in his pocket. But the whole time, Morgan and them are thinking, but that's probably not the killer. It doesn't seem right. So in the end, they do find the killer, and of course, Morgan's profile was right. And it was an interesting case too, because he was a shut-in, right? He had never left his house, and towards the end he kind of had like a limp, because when he was running from them, he tries to jump over the railing, and because he hurt his leg, he fell to his death. So they actually didn't get a confession out of him because he was working with somebody. But the only time he leaves his house is to go to the grave to put flowers on his daughter's grave. So that's the connection. So this app, somebody did this image on his daughter, and she couldn't take it, and she committed suicide. So Morgan was like, it took a 31-second video of somebody doing this, changing one of her images, making her look bad, making her look stupid, or made fun of, or whatever the video was. Morgan was like, it was only 31 seconds, and it had bothered her so much mentally that she committed suicide. So this dad is beside himself. I mean, like I said, he's a recluse. He never leaves the house except once a week to put flowers on the grave. Morgan noticed that this particular week he wore gloves. So they were like, okay, he put the poison in the flowers. Somebody came to the gravesite, took the poison, and put it, with him. And they were like, how did they do it? They found out the dog tag. So you remember I said he had a dog on the plane. So that's what they did. So apparently one of the security teams, boyfriend, I guess the man's daughter's boyfriend, got on the security team. So the man, who lost his daughter, her boyfriend got on the security team, and they worked together. He made the poison, put it in the flower at his daughter's grave. He got it. It was a dog collar. He put the dog collar on the dog, and then of course during the on the flight, on the plane, he's loving on his dog, and you see that in the first scene. But big people, celebrities have a lot of money, have a private jet. They have cats and dogs, and I wasn't surprised. That's normal. So yes, the dog is okay. Morgan wanted to make sure that the dog was okay. He didn't have any poison, but it got on his skin. And, that's how he was foaming at the mouth. So they definitely found the killer. A little having the flash drive, knock out the virus with the computer was a nice little red herring. You found, this guy who had nothing to do with the murder. He was just a rivalry with technology, and he kind of wanted to just get back at him. So he gave him this flash drive, and he was going to put a virus on their computers, which again got on the police computers. So yeah, so like they tracked him down and ended up being nothing. Like I said, they found the man, from his daughter who died. That's how it worked. They kind of worked together. So I mean, it was definitely interesting the way they did that, right? Because and I mentioned earlier, so the red herring in this episode kind of was the young guy who did the flash drive. He wasn't the killer. Had nothing to do with the killing. It was just kind of a coincidence that that's the day he did that. And you find the 2-hour meeting. How I mentioned the security team was like, everything on his schedule is listed except this 2-hour meeting once a week. Well, you find out he's not having a meeting in the office building. He's actually going in the office building and going out the back exit of the office building, and there's a hotel there, and he was meeting up with a woman. So it looks like he was just kind of having, this weekly sexual encounter that he didn't want anybody to know about. So he got dropped off at the office building, went in the back door, or went out the back door, and met this woman. So another red herring. She didn't have anything to do with it either. But it's just interesting, you know what I mean, that how Morgan does Morgan. I love how she figures things out, right? Like they're going to this guy's apartment, and I told you he never leaves the house. So when you go in, obviously, it's going to be like a pack rat because he gets everything delivered. So, he never leaves. And she was going over like, it's this kind of person who organizes your stuff, or this kind of person who, and so even that, if it's true, I learned different things about, hoarders, so to speak, or people that are shut in, how they organize their house. And ultimately knowing what type of person he was, she was like, okay, everything means something. This is all important. Let's look over here. So her knowledge of random things always helps. So one thing that I didn't mention was when they were at the FBI going through all of the things, trying to figure out, because they had a list of suspects and she's trying to feed through them all. She gets a phone call, and the phone call is actually from her son, Elliot, and he's frightened. He's like, Mom, Dad fell, and you can hear Ludo in the back like, I'm fine, but you see him lying on the kitchen floor. So here's, Morgan at the FBI trying to sort these things out, and she's hearing her son kind of freak out because his dad passed out and is on the floor. So she leaves, obviously, like I'm a mother, like that's scary, so she rushes home, and he's sitting on the sofa, and he's like, look, I'm embarrassed. I just kind of fainted. I haven't been eating, I'm just tired, and it turns out he didn't want to go to the hospital, and he was okay, but of course Morgan ran home, and her daughter Ava was like, yeah, the baby's fine, like they took care of the kids. But Elliot was a little freaked out. So the baby's asleep, but Elliot went on the front porch just to kind of clear his mind. So, I mean, that can be scary, for anybody. When you see your parent kind of pass out and fall to the floor. So, they thought, well, Morgan said, are you sure you don't want to go to the hospital? And he was like, no, I'm just got a lot. And Morgan understands, 3 kids is a lot. And so, she puts a lot on him because she's doing this job, and he always has to move around his schedule. But that's what he signed up for. He said he was going to be the, babysitter, the manny, So I like that relationship because I feel like it's ex-wife, ex-husband, but they still come together and have a love for their kids. Especially with Ava, because Ava isn't his daughter, right? Just Elliot and the little baby Chloe. But he takes care of Ava too, because even though she's a teenager, she still can't be by herself, and babysit everybody. So I really like that bond. I think in this day and age when, the ex-wife, punishes the kids by trying to get back at the ex-husband by not letting them see it, and vice versa. He wants to get back at her, so he doesn't let her see the kids. To see the way Morgan and Ludo kind of work out what they have, for the better of the kids, I love that. So Morgan realizes, like, okay, he's kind of going through a lot, you know what I mean? He's taking care of the kids. He forgot to eat. He fainted. Like, I appreciate you. And then she goes outside on the porch, because remember, Elliot is like 9, 10, 11, but he has the same gift that Morgan has. So, Morgan goes out and is like, look, I know this was scary, but you have to not think about it. But he has the gift. So Morgan's like, I know you can't not think about it, and once you have it in your image, it's there permanently, because unfortunately you have my gift. So they kind of talked it out. I liked the way Morgan could relate to Elliot, because they think the same way. Because that's scary. I like that Morgan, has that heart to heart with Elliot, and kind of realizes what Ludo has been doing. Because at the end of the episode, you see, they're like, close your eyes, and he walks into the living room, and she had tacos there. It looked like takeout, but then she said she made some dip, or, made some of the food. So it looks like maybe a mixture of takeout, and she prepared some food. But tacos was his favorite meal. So he was like, oh, you made my favorite meal. And which my family loves tacos. We eat tacos all the time. So I loved that. I was like, yeah, we love tacos too. So he liked, like Morgan put in the effort, took the whole family, all 5 of them were sitting there with tacos, and then he turns on his favorite movie, or I'm sorry, Morgan turns on Ludo's favorite movie, and they're all sitting on the couch, and he's like, we can eat on the couch? Like, Elliot's like, you're not mad? And she was like, no, we're going to eat on the couch as a family. We're all going to watch this movie. And you could just see Ludo kind of look at Morgan like, thank you. And you could see like Morgan like, yeah, I appreciate you. We're a family. We come together as a family. So I love that, because, they respect each other, and they understand this is hard. 3 kids, and you can tell Morgan's like, look, I made your favorite meal. We're all sitting down watching your favorite movie. This is family night. This is what we're going to do. We take care of each other. So to me, I loved that message. So I really like that she really appreciates what he does. Now this was episode 12. Next week is the finale. So this is the first season. They got renewed for a second season. Yay. But next week is the finale, season 1, episode 13. Now they did a little preview for next week, and I have to tell you, I'm intrigued. I love puzzles, as you can tell if you've been on my channel. I love mysteries. I love puzzles. So next week, the finale, the bad guy, so to speak, because as far as we can see in the preview, he's not a killer. He's a bad guy, basically, who kidnaps people and then leaves notes for the cops. Because in the preview, you see, like, they leave some cryptic note, and they find the girl, or they find the guy, and they're, strapped to a chair in a closet or something. And you can see he's like escalating, like he's playing this game, and which is scary. I really, as much as I love puzzles, I'm not a big like horror fan. And so when I see this stuff, it reminds me of like horror movies, right? Where they're playing with you. And in the end, they just want to kill you. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be intriguing to kind of see as he escalates with all these different, puzzles. Because it looks in the preview they already found 2 people. So, how many people has he kidnapped and left cryptic messages for? So, definitely looks like it's going to be a really good finale. This particular episode, you find out the rift between Ronnie and Adam. I told you they used to be partners, so they kind of hash that out, and kind of say, become friends again, so to speak, with what happened. And Ronnie even says, okay, there's an opening at the FBI. He turns it down, because he wants to stay where he is, obviously, because the show is him and Morgan. But yeah, I mean, they definitely make up and kind of, say, yeah, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, or yeah, I shouldn't have left you high and dry. And so I like that they patch that up because you can kind of find that out. So no cliffhangers in this episode, but they didn't talk about Roman. So next week being the like season finale, and they definitely have an interesting case with this guy like leaving messages, playing like a cat and mouse game. So it's definitely going to be an interesting episode, but I hope they bring in more about Roman. Remember the last time we heard about Roman, they found the guy. He proved to Morgan with the Rams means Morgan, Ava, and Roman. So it's like, or I'm sorry, Roman, Ava, and Morgan, RAM. So, I mean, we know he did know Roman, but he said he was leaving and coming back. So, my question is, are they going to touch on that? Are they going to leave us a cliffhanger for season 2? Or are they just going to forget it altogether? So I'd like to see what they're going to do about that whole Roman missing persons case, because they didn't speak about it at all in this episode. So next episode I feel like is going to be really interesting, but are they going to kind of tell us what happened, or are they going to give us a little bit information about Roman and then leave it for season 2? But anyways, I hope you liked the review. I hope you liked the show. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and until next time, I will see you then. Bye.